How do you stay motivated? Bro, that's so hard to do. Even right now, look at it. It's like about 8 o'clock at night for me of recording of this video. And I had like a large discussion with my wife. Me and my wife got into it. We were just talking about all sorts of stuff. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting to go record this video and then go to the gym to lift, and then come back home and make myself some dinner. But then I ended up talking with her for about like almost 3 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't get to go to the gym. I didn't get to do all the things I was aiming to do. And part of me is like, maybe I could skip today, you know? Or maybe I can do a 10-minute video, like a really quick speed paint, so I can say I did the day. And there probably going to be days where I actually do that. But I was like, well, the topic I was going to talk about was motivation. And honestly, what a great way to kind of segue into that, to talk about like kind of my own lack of motivation and what makes me work in the first place, what drives me. And the way I like to think about this is, imagine you have a bunch of little, you know, fireplaces, like places where fire begins. These are supposed to be sticks of wood. And, you know, what I think ends up happening is people want to experience this fiery, burning passion to continue for the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. But what tends to happen is it's just embers. It's really nothing. And every time they try to get started, they're always like, well, shit, I don't want to do anything. I want to do something else, or I don't feel interested doing anything. Like, so you just kind of leaves the fire not burning, right? And so then, let's say you go to an event, you feel this flame, you go to Lightbox, or you go to GDC, which is going on now as of recording. And you go to these events and you're like, bam, oh my God, I talked to so and so, I feel really inspired. And then, bam, the next day it kind of carries over, and the next day, and then eventually it goes back to embers. In fact, many of you guys have been kind of talking about this, like, oh man, like, thanks for reminding me of staying motivated. But I want you to stop thinking about motivation as a main driver. People will say, what motivates me? Like, what is your motivation? And what inspires you? And I think these things are larger answers. For instance, what motivates me is, to become a great artist, to be a working artist, to be consistently working, to help others learn how to work and stay consistent with work. What inspires me? Well, the idea of what that looks like, what that means for me. Like, as time goes on, I will become a legendary artist if I maintain this for more decades. And I'm in my 60s. There's a good chance I will be an incredibly skilled artist doing things that are unforeseen, because it just takes a few decades to get that good, and that's inspiring. But these are larger motivations, and these are larger inspirations. And I think that's a better place to categorize how to answer this. Because if you're thinking about like the daily motivations, then you're day trading, right? Think about it. When you look at stocks, what is the most consistent way to invest in stocks? It's just to put money in consistently at a pretty reasonable rate that you can afford. Ignore whatever's going on with your favorite stocks, ignore what's going on in the overall economy. You just put in money and let that sucker grow over decades. And that has been a pretty reliable and pretty consistent thing. If you would have bought a house during the housing collapse in 2007 and held on to that and were able to survive that, your house would be marketably more valuable today. That's just a fact. So my motivations are larger. I don't day trade. I don't rely on my motivations and inspirations to be shallow. So for instance, if you think about it at a more shallow level, like I want to build a portfolio that's good. So the piece that I'm painting right now needs to be good. That's just too shallow. Like that's just too much of a high stakes. That's like, day trading. Putting in a lot of money on a stock, expecting it to blow up the day or the next day or two, and then cashing out immediately. It's a gamble. Day by day, it's a gamble. Now, in this, what do you lose in the gamble? Well, you lose motivation, right? You lose the ability to kind of sit still and actually do something. That is what you lose. What you win, maybe you did one of your best paintings ever, but it's too volatile if you're really relying on more shallow motivations and more shallow inspirations. So, what is it that I think people should actually put their time in? What is probably more worth your efforts? Patience and diligence. And I always get this word wrong. So if I spelt this wrong, whatever. You get what I'm saying. I draw pictures, not write words. Okay. So if I spell this wrong, I generally do not care. Patience and diligence, or resilience is another good word. These two, I think, are the better tools to put money into yourself. Make that investment. Again, think about it, long-term stocks, right? If you put in money consistently for days on end, for years to decades, then you are absolutely patient. You are relying on time and effort to pay out. And it almost always does, as long as you are diligent. As long as you put money in to yourself, you invest that time into the stocks, right? Because when the market's low, you still put in. When the market's high, you still put in. When the market's medium, you still put in. And this is what this looks like. This is what this kind of passion of day-to-day effort will look like, is that it will just be this consistent flame that burns every day. Just every single day, put a little bit more time into your craft, what motivates you in the larger schemes, what inspires you in the largest scheme. But then you go to an event. Whoa, you get like the raging fire. You get with the Lightbox, you talked to me and I was like super motivational. It's awesome. Or you meet like your idol, they took a picture with you, super motivational. The next day, you'll still have that raging fire, I'm sure, but it's going to die down a little bit. And eventually it'll die down to your baseline. This is what you want. You want to like to have this base that is pretty reliable. And to me, this is what motivates me. This is what inspires me, is just being patient and diligent. I'm going to do a paint over now. Essentially, feeling good about what it means to get good. I trust the process. Many people do not trust the process because they are expecting immediate gains and changes that they just don't see on their day-to-day, and they get incredibly frustrated. But if you are day trading, that's what's going to happen, right? You're going to feel some kind of way about your efforts. But if you are not day trading, but you are investing long-term, you got like a 401k retirement plan, you feel me? Then you will be paid in dividends. You will be paid in all of your hard efforts for all your good works. You know what I mean? And so that's what motivates me, if you're curious, is not to be motivated at all, really, just to be disciplined, essentially. Now, let me do something different here. I was going to do like another character, but let me make some sort of interesting call out to what I did the other day. I love these kind of like more weird looking character designs. So I'm gonna stick to that. But yeah, I think a lot of times people see a great artist and they assume they have it all figured out too, you know. And I'll probably make a whole video talking about how individual artists feel, and how like some of your favorite artists are not seemingly as happy as you might think they are. We're all out here, man. We're all trying our best. We're all trying to do what we can do. And I think that sometimes when you see someone like myself, um, making videos and doing classes and showing cool work, that I have it all figured out. Nah, man, it's just as tough for me out here. But I think the difference is that I am always trying to elevate myself. I was just going through my portfolio the other day. I was like literally last night. I was in my bed and was just like thinking about kind of the latest paintings I did, and I was like, yeah, they're still rough and tough, man. I need to probably crank out some um, high quality imagery for my next tests. Like just actually spend a solid 30 minutes to an hour on a individual painting, and regardless of whatever I'm talking about, that's normally reserved for like my tutorials, because then I will kind of walk through my tutorial. So it's totally reasonable for me to talk for about an hour, because it's pretty condensed within that hour and I'm pretty precise usually. But if I'm doing this more topical stuff and I just happen to be painting something, you know, like sometimes I'm done talking about the topic, so I just move on. I'm like, I don't need to talk anymore. And normally in my mentorships will allow me to sit on a painting for longer than 15, 20, or 30 minutes. Wait, hold on just a second. Gotta check to make sure I didn't get any. Uh, no, I thought there was. I was just making sure I didn't get any messages from my wife that I might needed to answer. Seems like it's all good. Um, because yeah, I was looking at like the paintings I was doing for the last streams, and let me be clear, like I don't dislike them. I actually love them. I think they're great. But they're like sketches. They're like kind of like something that I would absolutely share on my Instagram from time to time. But they're also like a little too sketchy. And I was like, wait, maybe it's because sometimes I'm just done talking. And so, yeah, with my mentorship, like what would end up happening is I would be painting and then I will be done talking. And then somebody will ask another question that then will let me like steamroll into more commentary, you know? But I realize in this context there isn't any of that, and I prefer it this way. To be honest, I think this is nice. It's a good format. I want to kind of maintain this. So I was trying to think of like alternative strategies to be able to solve two problems: be able to kind of be talking about all sorts of cool stuff, um, as well as not having to worry about the demo being incredible um, every single time, and but it still has some high value. You know what I mean? And I was looking at some of my peers and what they do, and typically what they do is they just do a lot of pre-recording, and then they kind of talk over it, which is perfectly fine. Um, I don't want to do that. I want to make this feel like I'm in the same room as you right now, and we're just chilling. We're just bros and gals, just all hanging out, just chatting it up. You know what I mean? Oh, and like I was saying, I kind of lost my train of thought. I was actually talking about like what made me think this way. It was, well, because I was just looking at a lot of my portfolio stuff, kind of just getting interestingly inspired by my own work. I was just like looking at my old work to kind of see what kind of stuff I should paint more of, you know, that I already like to do and that does really well. Kind of as an example of my last video, what I was talking about, artistic bias, you know, because I want to make this YouTube channel incredibly valuable at every facet for everyone involved. I want to be able to teach you guys some cool stuff and also have a badass painting at the end of it that I'm very happy about, you know? And then that also benefits you guys to be like, saw me do a badass painting. Maybe I didn't talk about it explicitly, but at least you get to watch, you know? And there's plenty of videos out there that do that and are really helpful for those who are out there trying to get it, you know? If you want a more consolidated tutorial, then that's what the tutorial's for. You know, if you want to support me that way, please do so. If you don't want to do that, then just keep liking the videos and keep watching the videos, you know? But anyway, but it also was interesting because it was really cool. As I was like going through all of my content, I was just like, damn, dude, I have like thousands of images that I think a lot of people have never seen because it's just buried with the other few hundred or thousands of images. Like literally, I was looking at my Instagram and I was like, wait a minute, how many posts do I have? And it was like in the 1400s. And the vast majority of these are absolutely images, like paintings or drawings or me sketching. So as I was going through them, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna share this as a story. I'm gonna share this as a story because, dude, I got so many. And I think a lot of people don't know that I've done these paintings before or drawings because if you just have to dig. So I'm doing the digging for you, you know. But it is funny because a couple people messaged me. They're like, bro, I didn't these robot drawings are sick. And I was like, dude, I posted those almost like a few years ago. These are not new images. I've done these a long time ago. I've drawn a lot. And another like a close friend of mine, and he's probably watching it right now, my buddy Paul, was like, dude, this like he didn't say this verbatim, but like there's this like monster portrait I did. It's like this is so sick, you know? Which also made me think, like, did he see this before? Because this has always been there. And I know he's followed me for quite a while. Or maybe he's just reminding me that he likes that piece. I don't know. But it's just fascinating to kind of just witness that I have so much work that you may have not seen at all. Actually, you guys may have never seen it all. And this is even true of my YouTube videos. For those of you who are watching, I have hours and hours of content of me interfacing with students that you guys are more than happy to watch through. Many of you guys are saying how you guys like to watch my video content as you're working, which is a great tool to kind of stay patient and diligent. It's kind of like a Jedi mind tricks to put on some audio in the background while you're working. You know what I mean? That's why podcasts, I think, are very popular. This is why I like to listen to podcasts, or I used to. I have now almost completely abandoned listening to podcasts. I just cannot stand the amount of people that complain about everything in this world. Again, I think I talked about this in another video, that I really don't like it. And part of the reason why I started making videos again was to balance against that. I think there's a good time and place, and some of these some of these podcasts should exist. Like I still listen to some of my favorite political podcasters because I do kind of want to stay on top of things. And even though I have a specific bias on what I feel about the world around me, I like to listen to these folks because I think they have opinions that resonate with me. They feel incredibly rational, and again, they speak to me. But I only listen to like one or two videos of those now, maybe a day, where in the past I was like listening to that and then I would go listen to a podcast and then they would talk about some shit, whether I agreed with it or not. And then I'll just be listening to it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay. And then I'll like leave that. And then the conversation I'll have with somebody will be about some sort of thing. And I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, great. Like everything I'm listening to is just that. So I would like to be the podcast that you guys listen to, or the video or audio that you listen to, that's uplifting and motivational and inspiring on a day-to-day basis. You know, even though it's kind of like I said earlier, a shallow strat, but it works. It still gets you in the seat, gets you drawing. And if you've gotten this far and you have yet to draw, what are you doing? Start drawing. You might be like, well, I don't have anything to draw with me on me. Like if you have a pen, or you can borrow a pen, just draw on yourself. Use yourself as a canvas. Just carry a pen with you at all times. I like to carry pens and Post-it notes. In fact, I'm gonna do a video about that. My love for Post-it notes, sketching. But yeah, anyway. But this is kind of what I'm saying. Like I used to listen to podcasts all the time. I used to be engaged in that way, but now I just watch movies and TV shows. It's so much better. And so, but all of this vibe that I don't want to lose, I'm trying to find ways to marry what I want to get out of this to helping it be successful. And at some point, there will be a market cap to its success, and I'm okay with that, you know. But if I can be the Bob Ross or the art dad that you needed, then I'm working on that right now. And again, a lot of this is motivated simply because a tragedy happened in my life. One of my close friends passed away. And this whole vibe is how we used to work. We just would sit in a room and just talk to each other. And it was awesome, man. And we would just give each other insight and feedback. And it was just fucking awesome. And it was really nice, you know? And we weren't trying to sell each other something. We weren't trying to like package some sort of thing, you know, and try to convince people of an ideological perspective. And then getting locked into that because it starts making money, you know? We just talked to each other about the things that we cared about. And I care about this. And if this can be successful and I don't have to change who I am and how I do this stuff, and it reaches a mild level of success, I will feel incredibly happy about that. And it will allow me to know that this matters, that this is worth doing and putting my time into, because not only is it giving me the warm and fuzzies, I see people engaged with it, I see people care about it, but it actually brings, you know, attention and awareness and eyeballs to it that literally just by the pure number of viewership, you know, that it becomes also now a monetizable strategy where I'm like, oh, dude, I'm making like a few $1,000s a month from just doing this video stuff. Shit, dude, that's like, it's huge. It's a big deal. You know, I don't know if this will ever be my main money maker. I don't know if I want it to be honest. I like making my income by working. It's my favorite thing. That's why I keep doing it. I like working on really fascinating projects and working with new artists. Like this is too isolating for that experience to exist. But me showing up every day for 45 minutes out of principle, and then I'm rewarded for that principle in any meaningful way, dude, hell yeah, dude, that sounds tight. So that is really inspiring to me. And that's what motivates me to make a video every single day. This was going to just be a 10-minute video, speed paint, no objective or nothing to talk about. But I have a laundry list of stuff to talk about, truly. I have a lot. Like, I don't know if like hundreds, but I think I have like a few dozen. And that's good. That's going to keep me going for the next few weeks. And then what I've been doing is going into the comments and just reading the comments and responding to as many comments as I can. Right now, it is totally available. And I think what I'm probably going to do, for those of you who are listening, I'm probably just going to be maintaining this approach of responding to comments to my most recent video and maybe my most recent videos, because it's easy. I'll spend like 30 minutes every day just kind of reading through the first few comments that I can see and I respond to, and I'll just do that periodically throughout the day because it's easy. It's not too crazy. But at some point, these videos will be too old. Like if this is like 2 years from now, I'm probably just not going to see your comment, and I apologize. Feel free to leave a comment, but I'm probably not going to see it. Just be honest. But if you leave a comment on my most recent video, even if it's related to something that I said in the past, I might see it and I will respond to it. And what I've been doing is responding to people's comments. Like this is actually somebody's comment that I saw about motivation. And I will just respond to it. And if you have listened to this like this far, all you got to do is put a Q in front of your comment for this video in a timely manner, again, within that timeline, that time box. And I will make sure within the first 24 to 48 hours of this video being uploaded. I will get to your comment soon. And I will try to reward people who do watch all the way through in meaningful ways. You know? But if you don't, and you somehow still got towards the end of this video, maybe you skipped ahead, you're just like, oh, I know he does this thing, so I'm just going to start skipping ahead. Okay, cool. I'm just going to sprinkle it throughout I'm going to sprinkle the, the, the value of listening all the way through, all throughout the video then. You'll never know. You'll never know. Yeah, I'll find other ways to reward folks. But yeah, I'm just going to maintain this thing out of principle. I am not counting on this to be a huge hit. My initial goal for this YouTube channel as of now is to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. This will be a great test of my hypothesis that if I am genuinely consistent, that I will be able to do this and it will be successful. And when that does happen, I will then make a video about it and explain to y'all that you can probably do something very similar. And I'll explain what I learned and what I could have done better and see if that could help you guys in your adventures on making your own YouTube channels. But I think I'm feeling good about this painting. It's like some weird, like, metal bust, dude, like a rusted metal looking motherfucker. Let's put some like reflections up in this bitch. I noticed that people really like the way I do my reflective materials. Because when I was going through a lot of my artwork to see kind of what has a lot of appeal, a lot of my high def reflection stuff does really well. And I had a couple hunches. I think one, contrast is dope. Just contrast is cool. So seeing contrast in any meaningful way is always nice. But also I think a lot of my audience is like other artists. So then they see this type of stuff and it kind of scratches that like, ooh, how did he do that? Like, what did he do? What did he do there? You know, and I also make it look effortless. So I think that also like scratches that itch of like, ooh, precision at its best, you know? So I'm assuming this is it. I actually am not 100% clear on this, but I do know that this does well. I have like these like, again, like these abstract like lady concepts that I do a lot, and some of them have like these like really sharp like trims that are like nicely rendered, you know, and that somehow gets people going. Oh, this reminds me. I'm gonna do some of the cool Illustrator reacts or like concept artist reacts type video content. Because I was trying to think of also the kind of content that I, again, would like to do that also could help me have a more filler, so it's not just always philosophical answers to the world and the universe. Because what that will then incentivize me to do is to create content that does that all the time. And if I don't have bangers off the rip, there's a good chance that I might not draw that day. So I have the world building stuff that I think will just, that's a perpetual thing that I can continuously build on. That's cool. I think what I will do next time I do that is like, again, I'll try to fucking, I'll come guns blazing. I'm going to make a really cool concept page, and it will essentially just be a tutorial, live tutorial, but I'm just building the world. I'm not teaching you how to build a world. I'm just doing it live in front of you. But yeah, like being able to like, yeah, like this is the new so-and-so game and my thoughts on how it looks, you know? I think that could do cool. I think people would actually care about that type of insight. And I have opinions. I have opinions about my peers' work, and what I think about it. And to be honest, I'm not gonna come at it mean. I actually told myself if I'm gonna do this like reaction type content in the spirit of what I care about and what I stand for, it's almost always gonna be like the vast majority of them are gonna be hyper focused on the simple fact that highly focused on the simple fact that I like the work that I'm looking at and giving some thoughts on. If there's a piece of artwork that I have strong negative feelings against, I just don't feel it's important to say anything about it. You know, I don't really care to go out of my way to talk about something that I wouldn't have talked about. Like I don't like message my friends and say, did you see that? Like it's awful. In fact, one of my friends did that. He sent me a thing. He said, what do you think about the dwarves from Snow White? And I said, I don't know. I don't really care. He's like, it looks awful. And I said, okay. And I explained the reason why I don't care, because the original Snow White still exists. And it's very obvious to me, like a lot of these companies, these projects are building these remakes to just kind of milk the IP. And that's okay. They're allowed to milk their IPs. You might not like it. You might think that it is greedy. You might think that it's a misrepresentation of the original source material. I mean, there's lots of really valid reasons to be highly skeptical and critical of this new live action lineup or remakes. Um, I don't know. I don't really care. I'm gonna probably watch the movie anyways with my kids. They will have a reaction, but they've also seen Snow White, the other one, so they'll also have the ability to be like, "This isn't as good as the other one," you know. Um, I remember we watched the Lion King, and yeah, they were just like, "Yeah, it's okay." And I think my daughter even was like, "Why did they remake it?" You know, like she was able to like parse that this is kind of weird. Like, isn't there already a movie and it's like is better, you know? And I was like, I agree. And then I think we watched Mulan. I think she liked the live action Mulan more than the animated one, and I thought that was blasphemy to be honest. But that's as far as that conversation goes. There are better things in my life to worry about, so I don't even do it. I like to like debate like what's good movies and like TV shows with people that have like what I think are hilarious opinions about stuff. But like when we're drinking beers and smoking cigars or something, like, but outside of that, I don't really care. I would never like call them up and have a long, meaningful discussion about it. And so, what I do often is look at artwork that I really am impressed with and talk with my friends about it. Again, bringing up my late friend Rob, me and him would do that all the time. We would just like talk about awesome artwork all the fucking time, and it was awesome. In fact, one of the persons I just met up with recently in a DM, we were talking, and he mentioned his experience with my buddy Rob, and how it was also a very positive experience. And I'm like, yeah, that's just who he was, and it shaped a lot of who I am, you know. So I don't know if I'll ever have like the like, why is this bad, and kind of come at it from like this higher than thou perspective. I have definitely a lot of bad artwork, and I think being bad at artwork is important. And I don't really think it's important to talk shit about other artwork unless they ask to talk shit about it. Like if somebody is in my class and is like, "Hey, can you give me some harsh feedback?" Now I will give them the feedback that they need to hear. You know, if I am amongst peers and they want some harsh feedback, then I will do it. And I gave my buddy like a lot of feedback on his tattoo he wanted to get, because he wanted to get it seen by somebody else other than himself. And so I gave him a lot of feedback on it, and it was pretty tough feedback. But I felt compelled to, because it's a tattoo. You know, like you're only gonna get it once, and if you don't like it as soon as it's applied, like it's one of those things that lasts forever unless you get like a laser removal, which is that whole experience just sucks. Like, it just sucks. And I was telling him, like, yeah, people get tattoo regret all the time. So you want to do your best to try to avoid that. But yeah, outside of those circumstances, no need to talk such some shit. I don't have any interest in it. I don't really care for it. All right, I think this is looking cool, man. I am happy with how this turned out. I will be sharing this on my Instagram right after I upload it. And then I will try to see if I can get some food in me. I couldn't work out, unfortunately. That bums me out. But I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll just lift some weights tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good night. And thanks for hanging in there. See you guys in the next video.